So give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to live fully. And what does that even mean? To give yourself permission to live fully. What that means to me is to allow yourself to dream something new. To allow yourself to be bigger than you are currently, and to allow yourself to shift directions. For myself, I love shifting directions. And what I mean by living fully means to live like the dream is real. Live like the dream is real. Live like you're dreaming. Live like, I can just do anything. How do you do that? I suggest starting with a notepad and a pen and just writing what you would want your life to look like. So let's ask 3 questions first. Where do I want to live? And then be even more detailed. What do I want to feel every day when I walk outside? Do I want to feel rain? Do I enjoy the rain? Do I want to feel sun on my skin? Do I want to feel snow? Do I want to see trees? Do I want to see city? Do I want to see subways? What is the dream life? Write it down. Write it down and allow yourself to be as precise as you want to be. For myself, before I moved to my current location, I asked myself this. What do I want to feel? I want to feel warmth. How warm? Do I want to feel 60 degrees or 100 degrees? Do I want sun and dry heat, or do I want humidity with a breeze? Do I want an ocean? Do I want a lake? How specific can I be if I believe that I can create this? And I wrote it down. And I wrote down the temperature because I enjoy being outside. This may change for you. You may be a person that does not care to be outside. You may be a person that actually prefers being inside or doing activities inside or being in a city where often you are inside buildings. That may be your trajectory. But ask yourself and allow yourself to fully embody what that looks like. It may be in your current city, it may be in a new location, but write all of this down as if it was coming to pass. So for myself, I don't know if you can hear, but there are birds in the background. And I love the birds. I also love the sun, and I enjoy being outside. So I was so detailed when I decided my next location. I was detailed enough to say, I've lived in a city, no longer is that my direction. I want to be outside. I want to be in a warm location. I want it to be ideally 81 degrees with a breeze across my skin. I want to be able, thank you for the like, I want to be able to go to the water. And I'm a lover of water. I love the ocean. I love fresh water. I just love being by the water. What I also wrote was fresh produce. I grew up in a farm town, so I am used to produce being readily available or actually going somewhere and picking my produce. That meant something to me. And it meant something to me because I enjoy cooking. If this isn't your trajectory, that may not be important to you. It may be important to you to live in a city with the best restaurants. Write that down. I want to live where I can eat at Michelin-starred restaurants twice a week. I want to live where I can walk to my favorite restaurants and shops and clubs and friends' house. Write that down. I want to live in a place where the drive is beautiful. Or I want to live in a place where a car is not so useful, so I can walk, or I can easily ride a bike, or I can easily take public transport. All of this is available to you, but you have to sit down and think. You have to sit down and think. And furthermore, this adds an extra layer. When you write this list, I want you to remove the element of cost. I want you to remove the element of money, and I want you to remove why you cannot do it because of money. I want you to fully dream. Because that element of money will take you away from what you want. And I've heard this before where individuals have said, well, I can't do that because of money. You don't know what you can do. You don't know what's available for you. So to enable yourself to dream means to fully think about what it would look like. What would you like that new home to feel like? What would you like that new space to feel like? Think about it. How would you decorate the place? What is your new friend group? Because that's the dream. Not the assumption, I'm always around this type of person. That doesn't mean that you have to continue doing that. You can dream of something else. Maybe you've always wanted to be in a fashionable crowd. Try that. Maybe you were a person that never had a large group of friends surrounding you. Try that. Maybe you're a person who didn't dig into your athletic side and that's something you want to do. Try that. Just try. Dream about it. Maybe you want to say, hey, I want to be the hot girl at my gym. Try that. What would that feel like? Start buying those gym clothes. Start molding yourself into who you want to be. And I've done this. In fact, I would go so far to dream where I would actually go to Net-a-Porter or any shop online and see the outfits I wanted. And I would print them out or I would put them on Pinterest. And then I would sell my current clothing. So I would sell a lot on Poshmark. For years, I sold on Poshmark. I sold on eBay. I sold on, it starts with a D, Depop. I've sold on all of these platforms in the hopes that I'm selling my old life, my old clothes, my old way of being to buy the new. Because then I'm buying those clothes that I see myself in and I'm showing up as that new person. It takes this much detail in recreating who you seek to be. And then you start living as that person. So we've taken the list and we've written down where we would be, how we would feel, how the temperature would be, what our new exercises would be, what our new daily routines. Dream fully into it. Is it a new hairstyle? Did you cut your hair? Did you dye it blonde? And I'm so easily explaining this because I've done it. In fact, about a year and a half ago, probably over a year and a half ago, I shaved off all of my hair. Because I had never done it. And I thought, wow, let me see how this is. I've always had this big, beautiful hair. My hair is quite beautiful. I do love my hair. However, it was a purposeful restart. It was like a rebranding. It was like a new album coming out. I want to start new. I want to be different. I need to release. I want to see how that feels. I want to see how I show up. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you take that piece of paper, you write down the climate, where you want to live, the activities you'll do, the new bike you'll have, the new car you'll have, whatever it is, write it down. Then the next step, I advise this is something I've done. Release whatever you have. And often I've done several moves. I see people and they just bring the same things with them to different locations. I refuse to do that. I don't want to bring the energy in what I had into my new space. Especially clothes. And I've had like 6 closets at one time. However, where I'm going, I don't need this. I'll restart. I will bring the things that I absolutely love, but I'm not bringing anything that I don't love because I can find it again. And I remember my last location where I moved from, I had all these beautiful vintage clothes that I had sourced from all around the world because I was a flight attendant for 15 years. I loved to thrift shop, so I would thrift shop on every layover. It just fulfilled me. But then I found that same thing of having these beautiful clothes from all over the world. It felt like a capsule. It felt constricting. It felt like it was keeping me. And before I moved to Hawaii, I thought, I can't take all of these full-length cashmere coats, wool coats, this, that, rubber boot. I'm never going to wear it. I'm never going to wear it. And I told to myself, if I need it, I'll just buy it again. There's never been a time that I've needed a wool jacket living in Hawaii. I can tell you that. However, the beauty in that is the release I felt. And I remember stuffing these clothes into bags and donating them and selling them. And I was saying out loud, I found it once, I'll find it again. I found it once, I'll find it again. I found it once, I'll find it again. I don't need to carry all of this with me. And for me, when I move, I never bring my bed. I'll just buy a new bed. I always buy a new memory foam from like Amazon. However, my thought is, I don't want that energy coming into my new space. Oftentimes we go to sleep or we're stressing about things and that can be carried in a mattress. I don't seek to bring that into a new space. I want the new space free of all of that. In fact, for the most part, I don't even bring any furniture. I allow the space to speak to me, and then I decorate it as I go along. But that's really how you recreate your life. That's how you give yourself permission to live fully, by releasing what you currently have. So the first step was writing down what you want to feel, the climate, the surroundings, the greenery, the lush greenery, the city greenery, the sounds of a city. You write all that down. The second thing I advise is to see yourself in that new role, maybe through Pinterest or bookmarking the clothes that you would wear, and start by selling all your old stuff, selling your old clothes or giving them away. But I advise just selling it because you can fund the purchases for your new life. And it's quite easy now. It's quite easy through Facebook Marketplace or Poshmark or eBay, or there's so many ways to sell clothes. And it doesn't have to be for much, But you can use that to create the new outfits of the new future self. So you've written it down. You've begun to clear out all the old. The third step is to start speaking into it. Before I moved to Hawaii, I would say I am so excited. I started with I am so excited for my move, and then that quickly changed to I am so happy that I have moved to Hawaii prior to me even moving. And I think I've done this with a few of my moves. This might have been when I moved to London as well. Prior to me moving to London, I would say I am so excited. And then it quickly moved to, wow, I'm so glad I did this for myself. I am having such a great time living in London. I have learned so much about myself. I am so proud that I have made this move. You're speaking as if you're already there prior to going. And this is months before. And I shared this story on my TikTok while I was still living in New York or New Jersey. I had already made the plan to move to Hawaii. And I shared with you, I love thrift stores. And I remember being on a layover in Sacramento, California, and there was a Goodwill I would go to. And I went to this Goodwill. Let me see if I have this book. And in the Goodwill, right when I walked in, I saw this new Hawaiian language dictionary. I said, whoa, okay, I'm going to take that because I'm moving in about 4 months anyway. And you know what I did with that book? I took that book and I put it on my nightstand while I was still living in New Jersey. So as I was going to sleep, I would see this Hawaiian language dictionary. And that was the first thing I saw when I woke up. This Hawaiian language dictionary. Almost that future predicting of what I was doing. And in that same trip, thank you for the likes. And that same trip to Goodwill, I remember seeing, and I actually usually have it next to me, a Hawaiian keychain. I said, maybe this is a sign. I take these as subtle signs. Thank you for liking the live, Philip. And I bought the keychain and I bought the book. So I put the keychain on my keys. And even though I was living in New Jersey at the time, every time I opened the door, I would physically look at that Hawaii keychain and open the door. I was already setting myself up for that move that was 4 months away. It was purposeful. It was intentional. That's how to craft a new life. Or this is one way. This is one way. This is one way I've done it. So now I have that keychain on my keys and I see it every day when I open my door. I'm not actually physically in Hawaii as of yet, but your brain doesn't know the difference. This is why visualization is so important, because your brain doesn't know the difference between real and fake. So every time I woke up and I saw that Hawaiian language dictionary, I'm programming myself. Every time I would grab my keys and turn my keys into my door, I'm programming myself. Every time I would say, oh, I love my new home in Hawaii, I'm programming myself. This is helpful when you give yourself permission to dream, to live fully, to change. I also allowed myself the discomfort of change. Because it's not overnight. It's not something that you just snap into place. With any move, moves are transitions. They bring things out of us. I allow a space to mourn that loss, to mourn the loss of where I was, to mourn the transition that I will go through. And I allow myself to sit in that space, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. And what does that feel like? What does that feel like when you allow yourself to sit in discomfort through transition? Well, it allows a space of solitude. It allows myself to actually feel that and not push it away. Feel that. Feel it fully. Allow myself to say, you know what? This is different. This is something that I've never experienced. And I am a speaker, I'm a storyteller, and I always have stories to back up these changes that I've gone through. So when I moved to Hawaii, I had lived in prior cities where I never needed a car. So I lived in DC, London, Paris, New York, and Jersey. So I didn't need a car. I hadn't driven in 15 years. And so when I got off the plane, I came to Hawaii, I rented a car. I call it the D-Boy car, which is a Challenger or a Charger. And I, again, had not regularly driven for 15 years. I knew how to drive. I always had a driver's license. However, I wasn't driving on a daily basis because I had lived in these cities where public transport or walking was just as simple and more. It was actually a better option not to drive. And I love my cups of tea. So I rented this D-Boy car. It was a big white Challenger or Charger. I don't know. They blend into the same thing. And the home that I rented had not yet poured the concrete for my carport. And I share this because I'm here to remind you, I hadn't driven for several years, and I had never driven in areas like this. So there was a lot of loose, soft dirt where my carport was going to be. And I parked the car and I put some things in my home, and I said, let me run and go to, let's say, Target. So I go to Target and I come back and I park the car. Well, I didn't exactly park the car. What happened was I drove myself into a ditch. But I hadn't been driving regularly, so I was unaware. And so I kept pressing the gas. And I'm thinking, why isn't this car moving? All I see is this dirt being flung up into the air. But it shouldn't be, because cars are supposed to move. So I continued to add more gas and more gas and more gas, and the wheels just kept spinning. And this was my first day at my new home. So my neighbor comes out as I'm revving the engine, and all of this dirt is flying into the air, and I'm slowly digging myself further into the earth. And he walks out and he looks, and he was like, "Hi, are you Hope?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." He was like, "Okay, don't press the gas anymore." I said, "Oh, okay." He said, "It looks like you've got yourself into a ditch." I said, "I did? Whoa, I haven't driven in a long time. I didn't know." He said, "Yeah, okay, just turn the car off." So I turned the car off. He said, let me try to get you out of this ditch that you've essentially buried the car in because you continued to press the gas. So he tried to maneuver the car out, and the car wasn't moving. It was deeply embedded into the earth. He said, okay, hold on. So he leaves, he goes into the garage and tries to grab some plywood. He said, okay, I'm going to try to get you out of this hole that the two back tires are now into. Just stand over there. Like, get away, Hope. You've already done enough. So he's trying to put these pieces of plywood under the car because I've already worked the car into a hole. And then he says, wow, after about 7 minutes of trying, like, whoa, you've really buried yourself into this dirt. Why did you keep pressing on the gas? I said, I didn't know. I thought the car would just work itself out. He said, okay, let me call someone. So he calls someone else over to the house. Again, this is like 20 minutes into me settling into my new space. It's at night. The sun has set. So it's dark. And Hawaii can be quite dark because there's not a lot of light pollution, such as street lights and things of this sort. So now there's two of these guys trying to drive the car out of the ditch that I've worked myself into. And I told them, okay, while you guys are doing that, I actually have a salad in the back of the cart. Let me just grab the salad and the sparkling water because I'm going to, while y'all are sorting this out, I'm going to go inside and eat. Hey, how you doing? I'm going to go inside and eat. So I left. I went inside to eat my salad. I had my sparkling water, and they eventually got the car out of the ditch. What I learned in this moment was I had to actually work myself into the ditch to learn that you can't drive into, hey, how you doing, Ronald? I can't drive into soft dirt and continuously rev my engine and think that the car is going to move. It won't. It won't. Of course I am. However, I shared this story to say, until that happened, I did not have the knowledge to prevent it from happening again. So I don't see that as a mistake. I had to do that to learn that, Hope, you can't drive into soft soil because the wheels will just embed themselves into the dirt and you'll become stuck. And now I know. So I don't, thank you for the rose, Ronald. I don't see that as a mistake. I see that as the lesson that I had to learn, the knowledge I had to gain to bring me to this point. And it is a part of the change I had to go through. I went through living in a city to now living on an island. In a city, you hardly ever encounter loose dirt when you go to park somewhere. It's just when it happened. So I don't look into that story as, geez, Hope, why didn't you know? Of course, I wouldn't know until I knew, until it happened. And how this is on the island of Hawaii. This is how, or what city, any of them, DC, London, New York. I'll use those as the three examples of the previous places I had lived. There's no way in New York that I would go and just park on some dirt when it happened. And I share that to say these things happen to teach us how to navigate in the future. And I also had someone who came to help, 2 people in fact. It was quite funny because I was, yes, I was. I really was not knowledgeable until it happened. Those big D-boy cars, the Challengers or Chargers, those are heavy cars. My car now is a lighter car. However, I wouldn't just park on some loose dirt again because I saw what happened before. So all of these things within the new life, within the daring to dream and start a new life, these situations happen and we learn and we move on. And how I see it in that way, how I see it as the lesson I had to learn to even share this with you. The lesson I had to learn to share this with you. This new life, I had to learn a lot of things. I'm very meticulously clean. However, living on an island, I can't leave anything out. Ants will just find it. Of course. Yes, gallivanting around the world, which I still do, is a dream. It has fulfilled me in countless ways. Even the fact of the places that I've lived in, how I just think like, okay, yeah, I want to live on an island and go. Now, after the first move, all of the rest seemed very easy. But it takes that saying yes to allow the others to just come. And to dare yourself, challenge yourself, to think outside of your current circumstances. It's a thought. It's a thought. And also traveling allowed me to learn about myself because I've done a lot of solo travel. However, even being a flight attendant can be a means to really learn yourself because you're with yourself while you're traveling and being in these new locations. Have I, in what way, like I've been on boats? I'm not, no. Well, yes, I have traveled on a ship. I've traveled on like ferries. However, I'm not a lover of cruises. So if you're referring to something like a cruise, no. That's not something that I enjoy. I do enjoy being on the water in other vessels. But traveling on a ship, are you referring to like a cruise? Because yeah, no, I don't care to be on a cruise. I much prefer air travel or a boat of a different fashion, but not a cruise. And I started this live with daring to change your life and how it's beneficial just to write down what you want to feel. Oh, what's up, Ricky? It's beneficial to write down the exact. Oh, yes. That's what I think you had spoken about this before. Sure. Okay, now I understand. Thank you for clarifying, Ronald. I have on ships and boats and yachts of this sort. However, so yes, let me just leave it with yes. I started this live with writing down exactly how you want to feel with the new life, the temperature, the vegetation, a city element or an outdoor element. What do you want to feel? Then I went into something I've done. Who am I going to be? I would sell all my clothes and then buy the new wardrobe. It was a true rebranding, resetting. It was just new. And how refreshing that feels. And the things that I've learned. And I referred to this story where I parked in some loose dirt and essentially dug myself into a ditch. However, what I learned from that is don't park on loose dirt. And secondly, I had to learn that. I am. I am. That's why I'm on here. I pitch these ideas, but that's what I do now professionally. And even when I chose to go into speaking and when I chose to retire from flying, it was all intentional thoughts where I sat down and I said, what would I do? Thank you for liking the live. What would I do? What do I love to do? What would I just do anyway without payment? It's this. It's encouraging. It's storytelling. It's teaching communication. It's thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. This is what I love. So regardless if I am paid for it, I would do it anyway. The fact that I am is icing on the cake. And that's what flying was for me. I loved to travel. And I'm like the best flight attendant in the world. I love to talk to passengers and say, oh, go to this restaurant. Or I love problem solving. I loved everything about it. I'm fortunate enough to say I've only done jobs that I've loved. When I was a makeup artist, I loved it. So it doesn't feel like a job. I love doing it. When I was flying, I love traveling. I love changing locations. I love interacting with people. I love helping people. I love problem solving. I love everything about it. The fact that you're going to pay me, of course, it's a dream. So going into speaking was the same thing. Encouraging, teaching communication and storytelling, and how the most important story is the story we tell about ourselves. The most important story is the story we tell about our lives and how important words are. Just changing a few words changes a story. And I'm intentional about every word that I use. Because words create. Words are creating worlds. What world are you creating? What world do you want to create? What world do you want to leave? It can easily be shifted by the words that we use. And to make a shift, to dream about something new, oftentimes is daunting. Oftentimes it's pushed away, it's pushed down. It's, I can't do it, I won't do it. People will laugh at me. What about if I don't know how? I don't know how. So what? That's all a part of it. Accept it and go forward. Anytime there's a point of recreation, you must understand there is going to be a learning period. And I enjoy learning. In fact, the 3 pivotal pillars of learning for myself is everything is learned. The only thing that you know as a human being when you come into this world is the fear of a loud sound, and I believe it's the fear of a loud sound and like a fear of falling. I don't even know if it's a fear of falling, but I know a fear of a loud sound is something that's already embedded in us. But everything else is learned. Language is learned. Movement is learned. Skills are learned. Everything is learned, which means you can learn everything. That's number 1. Number 2, for myself, I love to learn. I love to learn. I'm always reading. I always have a book, or I'm reading an article, or maybe a news source. I love to learn. So if I know everything is learned, and I love to learn, number 3 is the best part. Find the best method for you to learn. For me, it's doing. When I took French in school, it gave me the basics, but I didn't truly learn French until I was speaking it, when I was surrounded in it, when I was in countries where I just had to use the language. So I know my best method of learning. So if I know everything is learned, if I love to learn and I know my method of learning, I'm limitless, because I understand I can learn anything. And when I refer to the language of French, which I love, my great-grandmother was Creole by way of Louisiana, New Orleans. And I remember when I was a quite young child, she would sometimes say chapeau or these words in French. And I would just think, how regal, how interesting. I love it. I don't know what that language, I want to learn that. I was a quite young child, and so that was her native language, was French and Creole and then English. This was my great-grandmother. So that put something in me. So in school, yes, I studied French, and then I would find French publications or listen to French radio. And then I had a French partner, and we were always in French-speaking spaces, so that's how I picked it up. Or if I was traveling in French-speaking West African countries, I found, whoa, there's so much in my brain. Because I would speak and I'm forming sentences and I'm speaking for the full day, but it's not, I'm impressed because I actually never put myself in this space to fully try. But now I'm in a space where no one speaks English, so I have to. And I saw my brain had all of this information, and I could fully speak the language. And to reinforce that, when I would fly, I would only fly French-speaking countries. So I could purposely go into the grocery store and say, où est les toilettes? Like, where's the bathroom? I would just go into the grocery store and ask people, like, where is the coffee? Where is the milk? How much is this? Just because I could practice. Just to impress myself, to show myself, you do know these 4 words, and you can understand what the person is saying back. And then I took it a step further. If someone was on the plane and I heard them speaking French for the next amount of time that we're on the plane, I'm only going to speak French to you. Because French lessons can be expensive. However, you're now on this metal tube with me for the next 8 hours. I'm going to utilize this as my tutor. I'm going to be resourceful. Qu'est-ce que tu bois? If whenever I ask them, what would you like to drink? I wouldn't say it in English. I would say it in French. And I would say, how was your day? I would just practice resourcefully. Because here's the thing that I learned. It's an honor for a person to use a language. I've never had anyone say, no, I refuse to speak to you in that language. No, they see that you're trying. In fact, they want to help. Yes, of course. Yeah, you're doing great. It was never, you're not doing good. I won't help you. I won't respond back. No. I love to learn. I'm resourceful with my learning. I'm going to speak to these French speakers for this entire French flight. And that resourcefulness with learning also came with newspapers. I remember anytime there was newspapers on the flight, I would read all of them. I would read the Wall Street Journal. I would read the New York Times. I would read the Financial Times because it's available for me. The information that I could learn. And I'm interested in finance, so that's a way of updating my information. But imagine that. If it was there for me, I'm going to implement it. I'm going to ingest it. That's a powerful way to learn. It's a powerful way to sharpen your skill, which is sharpening your brain. I'm constantly upgrading in any way I can. Even with speaking, I'm around other speakers. I come on here and I speak. I'm purposely doing this to sharpen my instrument. And that's the same thing with changing your life, with challenging the dream, with redefining who you are, with refreshing who you are, with rebranding yourself. After you do it once, you understand how to consistently do it. And to me, that's what it's about. Being able to consistently change, because life is change. And loving change. I love change. I love upgrading. I love speaking. I love putting myself in situations where I'm learning something new. I love it. It's a part of me. So, how can you implement this in your day today? How do you implement this into your life? How do you implement this into your week? How do you implement this into the month? How do you implement this into this year and your journey going forward? You ask yourself these questions. What do I want? What do I want to learn? What am I seeking to upgrade? Why do I want to upgrade? What will it take for me to upgrade? Why haven't I? Do I need some assistance? Do I need a new skill? Do I just need to be open and available? Set some time. Set 10 minutes a day to anything that you're seeking to do it. And now that we have the internet, it's easy because you can Google and YouTube anything, everything, and set your mind to do it. 10 minutes a day. Do that for 1 month. And then extend it to 15 minutes. And then extend it to 20 minutes. I spoke about this yesterday in my live. In small, incremental, daily sessions, habits, reoccurrences, whatever you would like to label it. If it's redesigning your life, dream about it. Go on Pinterest, go online and see what would it look like if I lived there. I'm doing that now. I'm looking around the world. What will it look like when I'm in the south of France? What will it look like at my new home in Costa Rica? What will it feel like when I move to this new location? And just allow yourself to be immersed in it. That's the starting point. And just allowing yourself to feel what it will look like, to see what it would look like, to smell what it will look like, to see the new outfits, to see who you will have to become. Because some of you may have to be released for this new life. And that's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful to change. And I'm reminded of a gentleman who approached me, and I was visiting my sister who lives in New York City. And I used to live in New York, so whenever I go, I typically go to Chinatown. I love Chinatown. And the gentleman approached me and introduced himself and said, you know, I don't change. I'm from Brooklyn. I've stayed the same. And I said, why? That's not a flex. That's incredibly, hey, I'm doing excellent. Hey, I'm hydrated, healing, sexy, splendid, and getting better in the moment. There we go. That's how I'm doing. The young man said, you know, I never change. We from Brooklyn, we never change. I said, that's not helpful. Like, how old are you? You brag about not changing? That's actually not helpful. Especially to me, I'm the wrong person. You're talking to the wrong person. If you believe that you telling me that because of where you're from, you never change and you've never changed for 35 years, that's actually really, that may be detrimental to your health. Like, that's not an encouraging act, at least for me to hear. He said, yeah, but we don't change. Well, why? And how do you know what people do? You don't know what people do. You know what you do. You know what people tell you. But of course you've changed. If you are still eating the same foods that you liked when you were 15, that's to me, that's a problem. I don't know if that's encouraging for myself. I don't think I eat any, well, no, like pancakes and things of this nature, but yeah, I understand that. You travel a lot for work. I understand that. I would label it for myself. I don't identify with lonely. However, I understand that. I saw the solitude as a strength, because I had mentioned in my live yesterday, all of this is done alone. However, yeah, the outside looking in, how I interpret what you're saying is there became a distance, especially from my friends in my hometown, because when I was living in Europe or traveling, especially internationally, even my news cycle is different. So at times I did not even know what people were talking about, or I couldn't relate because there was just a difference. So I understand that. And I see that as a strength because, yeah, that detachment became a shield of armor. I have something about this on my TikTok page that says that separation became a shield of armor. And it became an armor for strength within myself. And that armor was an armor because there's a distance, because I've grown. I've learned new things, and now I have enveloped myself into a new way of thinking. So I saw that as a power. Hi, how you doing? I saw that as a place of strength, and I still do. I see things differently, and we all do. I can observe it, and I can observe any opinion. And I also don't seek to agree. I'm never listening to someone to say, I agree or disagree. That's ridiculous. I'm a person that's able to observe. So my stance now is just allowing another opinion to be there. However, I understand that, especially with travel. And the beauty of what you find in yourself, because through travel, whether you know it or not, you have to redefine yourself, because you're constantly I found for myself, I was constantly learning new information. So the choice was to change. Not I didn't have a choice to change. The choice was to change. And how beautiful that is. I find that very powerful. The power to redefine, to reflect, to rebrand, to redo, to renegotiate, to reframe, to all of the re's yourself is a powerful position. Because when you choose it, you choose to open a whole new space in yourself. And within that, that's like the cheat code. Yeah. The evolving. Yeah. It's like the superhuman cheat code, which I love. And how you can pass this on to others with my nieces and even my sisters, but often with my nieces I travel with, and I can share these things about different social structures when we go to a different country, because you're unaware. The one thing about being in the same space is you're unaware that your space is not the world. You go to a different country, everything is different. Language is different. Social structure is different. Gender is different. Education is different. Healthcare is different. Everything. But until you leave, you are unaware. And that additional knowledge brings expansion. So I challenge you to expand in every way. I challenge you to write what it would look like to be different, to be in a different space. I challenge you to clear some space for new to come in. I challenge you to challenge yourself. Because comfort is great. However, comfort also allows us to just stay where we are. And that is what you choose for it to be. I don't think that is a positive or a negative. I will allow an individual to define that for themselves. However, if redefining yourself has been calling you, sink into it. If redefining your location, your anything about you is calling on you, it's calling on you for a reason. And it's time to listen. To listen and to redefine yourself. To listen and to reposition yourself. To listen and to revamp yourself. To listen and to rebrand yourself. To listen and to just create a new sense of what you see yourself as. So my challenge to you is, in this day, take a piece of paper and just write. Write the dream. Write the dream of the new location, the new car, the new home, the new you, the new activities, the new temperatures, the new oceans, whatever it is, write it down as if you are there now, and see how that feels, and sit with it for like a week. Read it daily, see how you feel, because it may be just you mapping out the future. And more likely than not, it is. This is a part of how I have done it, and I seek to allow someone to be inspired. Because when you unlock a new space within yourself, you empower yourself. Yeah, being confronted with yourself, and whatever that is. Our self is so multifaceted. And we can change that. We can redirect that. Yeah. Or find out that we're not made out of that and we want to be made out of something else. Absolutely. I completely understand that. So that's what I seek to do. And I'm on here twice a day to deliver some sort of encouraging, helpful, funny message, a lot of storytelling, because I've had quite an experience through travel and being in these locations. And I enjoy who joins me on my lives. And I post these lives on my YouTube, which is the same handle, Hope is Speaking, and my Patreon, Hope is Speaking. So I seek that you found something encouraging in some way. And follow me or not, come to the live or not. If something has helped you, then I've accomplished my destiny for today. And if you're a hopeful, in my link in bio, I show your support. I have my hopeful shirts in my link in bio, and just continue to dream. Continue to dream. And with that, I will leave you with this. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to write that down. This is why I keep a notepad, because there's always beautiful comments in my lives that are helpful for me. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for thank you. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? And anyone who's catching me now, you're catching me towards the end. Well, not towards the end. It is the end. However, I'll be back on in a few hours. I come on twice a day for at least an hour, sometimes up to 3, and share information. And I love what others have to say. So thank you. Be the love that you are, because we're a reflection of the love that we are made from. And well, thank you. That's my destiny in this day with my little flower crown. Thank you for liking the live, and continue to dream. Continue to tell yourself that you're worth it. I love connecting as well. Continue to tell yourself that it's for you, and allow it to be for you, because you're unlimited in all ways. With that, I am Hope. Hope is speaking, and you have all added to me in countless ways. I will see you later today or tomorrow, or maybe in person soon. Have an exceptional experience today.